Feminism is about sexism, bigotry, lies, elitism, self-serving hypocrisy, double standards, and most of all, feminism is about hating men. Feminism is cancelled. I came across this very polarizing comment in the deep trenches of the internet where I was trying to understand our generation's perspective on feminism. We love to throw around these terms, don't we? Elitism, bigotry, sexism. And they make us question our understanding of feminism. They made me too. And what I realized was, it's not wrong to introspect. It's all right to take a moment and understand whether we even understand feminism. But I would also posit that it's worth venturing out into the real world beyond our screens, as unattainable as that might sound right now, because these screens reflect our privileges. We need to understand what feminism truly means and whether we even need it anymore. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. To grasp the once radical ideology that has now become a mass movement spanning over centuries, we need to take a few steps back and look at the building blocks of feminism: equality and equity. The roots of feminism emerged from the need for equality during the French Revolution, where women demanded equal rights or equal opportunities for everyone, regardless of who they are. Now, I know, we glare past the words French Revolution as a lengthy topic we had to study in history class, and something that's so boring and ancient and medieval that we don't even understand it anymore. And I agree. We need something new. We need something better. We need something that's a little bit more exciting. Honestly, we need something to tweet about, and the French Revolution is not going to be it. Allow me to introduce the second building block of feminism, that is equity. Now, I'm not your math teacher, and this isn't a weird, tricky math problem, but you have to bear with me and imagine. Line A and line B. Line A is a few centimeters longer than line B, and it's been like that for a very long time. We are entrusted with the task of making them equal without compromising their lengths. What do? Well, with my limited understanding of math, I'd say we make line B longer until they're both equal. Yes, we're gonna have to take a little bit of time, resources, and dedicate it solely towards line B for the amount of time it takes to make them equal. But that's the only way, right? This, in a nutshell, is equity. While it was coined to relate gender and the workplace, it works very well against the social backdrop of inequity. Well, think about it this way. Equity sets the stage for equality. Equity means fairness in treatment of all according to who they are instead of regardless of who they are. Equality is where we all want to be, right? Well, equity is the Uber we're gonna have to take to get there. This is all modern feminism wants. Feminism is not an abstract idea and a term we hear so often that we're just over it. It's just demanding a better and fairer life for everyone. Now that we understand where feminism is coming from, we need to see towards the second part of our understanding. Yeah, feminism is like, we don't need it anymore. Like, women and all are treated equally now. It's not needed. Women just like to whine. I'm sure you've heard this argument, and there's two ways about it. Either you agree with it, or you don't, and you're so tired of refuting it that you don't even want to talk about it anymore. Either way, you'll have to listen to what I have to say. And this is something that I realized while working and talking to women and girls across the country. And it's also referenced in the empirical evidence called Persistent Inequalities by Dr. Srivas Goswami. Now, as respectfully and humbly as we can, let's try to step into the bare feet of a girl in rural India. We wake up in the earliest hour of the day. We have to fetch water for the rest of our family. Of course, we have to help our mother with the chores that she has to do. We also have to be there to help out our brother who's getting ready to go to school, right? But we don't go to school anymore. Our parents are only interested in marrying us off and other girls our age are already married, most of them to men who take undue and criminal advantage of their higher standing in the patriarchal setting. Some girls whose parents try to scramble together whatever resources they have to pay for their dowries. I mean, can we even blame them for looking at their daughters as an undying burden? So many more girls that were never even born, because who would want to be the parent for a girl child? And if you're not a Savarna woman, which means in the upper echelons of the caste system, which has been abolished but persists, then your life's even harder. You face caste discrimination with gender discrimination, and sexual violence is a norm. This is not my imagination running wild. This is not a folklore rendered fantastically blue. This is the ground reality of our country and girls in rural India. They don't get to make decisions, boys and men. That's all anyone cares about. And that's all of them who make decisions, even decisions that should be made by girls for themselves. Well, if these women and girls exist, if there are women and girls who I've shared these experiences with and talked about, how can we even try to think that sexism is a thing of the past and the patriarchy doesn't exist anymore? It very much does, and now we get that. Well, we understand the basics of feminism now through equality and equity, and I've set a rural example to make you understand the need for feminism, even though you and I both know that it's equally needed in urban settings. We live in the rape capital of the world. It's the epicenter for sexual violence, and we can't even step out of the house and feel safe, right? We need feminism to protect us. Well, how can we connect the both of them? To quote Gloria Steinem, one of the most renowned feminist figures in human history, feminism has never been about getting a job for one woman. It's about making life more fair for every woman. It's not about getting a piece of the pie. There's too many of us for that. It's about baking a whole new pie. Allow me to attach some social terminology to Gloria's idea: intersectional feminism. Kimberly Crenshaw, an American law professor who coined the term in 1989, explains intersectional feminism as a prism of seeing each other in a way wherein various forms of inequality often operate together and exacerbate each other. She says all equality is not created equal, neither is all inequality created equal. If we trace back to the example we just talked about and look at what the girl's caste would be, right? We can immediately understand that if she belonged to a lower caste, she'd be in a worse off position. And that's exactly where intersectional feminism has to be considered, right? Or if she was Muslim and followed Islam in a predominantly Hindu country, she'd face even more troubles in her life. We tend to talk about gender inequality as separate from caste-based discrimination or gender orientation or class or sexuality, right? But what's often missing is our understanding that these things are not a sum. They cannot be, the inequalities isn't a sum of its parts. It's a product of all of those things. As per UN Women, intersectional feminism centers the voices of those experiencing overlapping, concurrent forms of oppression in order to understand the depths of their despair, inequalities, and the relationship among those inequalities in any given context. Using an intersectional lens also means recognizing the historical troubles and context surrounding an issue. Long histories of violence and inequities that disadvantage women are created through systemic discrimination, right? These inequalities intersect with each other. For example, poverty, caste system, religion, sexuality, gender orientation, etc. And because of its intersectional nature, I would argue that feminism isn't just for upper caste white women. Feminism is for everyone. It's for men who don't want any part of toxic masculinity. It's for anyone who isn't heterosexual and faces discrimination due to their sexuality. It's for non-binary folks who are misunderstood by traditional cisgendered ideas. It's for transgender folks whose erasure, disrespect, and victimization is a direct result of persistent inequalities that are now normalized. This is my understanding of feminism, and this is my understanding of positivity through a feminist lens. It has led me on a path to passionately advocate for women's rights in every single way I can. I think feminism is not just a term that we can merely slap on our Instagram bios and now we're better people. It is a tool that not only governments should produce in policy making, but also an attitude that you and I must enact in our lives as the youth of the nation to respectfully understand the inequalities and inequities that our historically patriarchal, heteronormative, and cisgender society has propagated. And most importantly, how we, you and I, can use feminism is to create an equal future, not just for women who've already been benefiting from it, but more urgently for women who are surrounded by more inequalities and inequities than just their gender. So, after all, what are we supposed to be inspired to do from all of this? Well, I would say we must advocate for advocacy at the grassroots level by these very marginalized sections of the society instead of projecting ourselves as saviors. Partaking in programs with NGOs across Delhi has made me realize and understand the need to empower those who are directly affected by these inequalities. And I deeply encourage you all to do the same and to do the most you can to not only make your social circles more respectful and fairer, but also try to work with those who need empowerment. Another step I invite you to take is to diversify leadership opportunities. While the problem is as large as upper caste or white, economically advantaged men dominating global leadership, we can start wherever we are. Your student councils, any organizations you're planning to start with your friends, any initiative that you're taking, any idea that you may have that you want to bring to fruition. Question yourself. Am I doing this in a way that empowers other voices? Am I leaving enough space for other voices to be heard? Am I just trying to force diversity, or am I actually allowing diverse voices to come forth? I'll leave you with just one thought. Whether one may believe that we've achieved equality or that feminism is too obsolete to renew for the modern world, we cannot deny the need for intersectional feminism. We need to propagate it. We need to ensure that it allows us to achieve equality. And you and I, as the youth of the country, can make that happen by just being more aware and respectful and progressive individuals. In short, feminism isn't cancelled. We now just have a better recipe, and we're all here to bake one new pie. Thank you.